ناجي قائلا يا حنان بالنبي الأمي وخديجة أمي والبطول الختم سيدات النسوان شيل الله يا رمضان شيل الله يا رمضان شيل الله يا رمضان بالقبول والغفران بالنبي الجم من أبينا آدم وبنوح الأقدام وخليل الرحمن جد لهذا الإنسان عبد سوء خزيان من ذنوبه وحلان خائف إنك غضبان شيل الله يا رمضان شيل الله يا رمضان شيل الله يا رمضان بالقبول والغفران والصلاة دائم على النبي ابن هاشم عدما هو قائم بالعبادة سهران شيل الله يا رمضان شيل الله يا رمضان شيل الله يا رمضان بالقبول والغفران شيل الله يا رمضان شيل الله يا رمضان شيل الله يا رمضان بالقبول والغفران شيل الله يا رمضان شيل الله يا رمضان شيل الله يا رمضان بالقبول والغفران شيل الله يا رمضان شيل الله يا رمضان شيل الله يا رمضان بالقبول والغفران يا حنان يا منان يا قديم الإحسان بحر جودك مليان جد لنا بالغفران ربنا نستعفيك ربنا نسترضيك ولنا ظن فيك يا رجل الإيمان شيل الله يا رمضان شيل الله يا رمضان شيل الله يا رمضان بالقبول والغفران لا تخيب راجي تحت بابك لاجي لم يزل في الداجي قائلا يا حنان بالنبي الأمي وخديجة أمي والبطول الختم سيدات النسوان شيل الله يا رمضان شيل الله يا رمضان شيل الله يا رمضان بالقبول والغفران بالنبي الجم من أبينا آدم وبنوح الأقدام وخليل الرحمن جد لهذا الإنسان عبد سوء خزيان من ذنوبه وحلان خائف إنك غضبان شيل الله يا رمضان شيل الله يا رمضان شيل الله يا رمضان بالقبول والغفران والصلاة دائم على النبي ابن هاشم عدما هو قائم بالعبادة سهران شيل الله يا رمضان شيل الله يا رمضان شيل الله يا رمضان بالقبول والغفران شيل الله يا رمضان شيل الله يا رمضان شيل الله يا رمضان بالقبول والغفران شيل الله يا رمضان شيل الله يا رمضان شيل الله يا رمضان بالقبول والغفران شيل الله يا رمضان شيل الله يا رمضان شيل الله يا رمضان بالقبول والغفران يا حنان يا منان يا قديم الإحسان بحر جودك مليان، جد لنا بالغفران. ربنا نستعفيك، ربنا نسترضيك، ولنا ظن فيك يا رجل الإيمان. شيء لله يا رمضان، شيء لله يا رمضان، شيء لله يا رمضان، بالقبول والغفران. لا تخيب راجي تحت باب نستعفيك، ربنا نسترضيك، ولنا ظن فيك يا رجل الإيمان. شيء لله يا رمضان، شيء لله يا رمضان، شيء لله يا رمضان، بالقبول والغفران. لا تخيب راجي تحت بابك لاجي. لم يزل في الداجي أمي وخديجة أمي والبطول الختمي سيدات النسوان. شيء لله يا رمضان، شيء لله يا رمضان، شيء لله يا رمضان، بالقبول والغفران. بالنبي الجم من أبينا آدم، وبنوح الأقدام وخليل الرحمن. جد لهذا الإنسان عبد سوء خزيان، من ذنوبه وحلان، خائف إنك غضبان. شيء لله يا رمضان، شيء لله يا رمضان، شيء لله يا رمضان، بالقبول والغفران. والصلاة دائم على النبي ابن هاشم، عدما هو قائم بالعبادة سهران. شيء لله يا رمضان، شيء لله يا رمضان، شيء لله يا رمضان، بالقبول والغفران. شيء لله يا رمضان، شيء لله يا رمضان، شيء لله يا رمضان، بالقبول والغفران. شيء لله يا رمضان، شيء لله يا رمضان. رمضان شيء لله يا رمضان بالقبول والغفران شيء لله يا رمضان شيء لله يا رمضان شيء لله يا رمضان.
Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me?
Walaikum assalam.
Walaikum salam.
How are you guys doing? You okay?
Alhamdulillah.
Bismillah, I think we can start. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Mawlana Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Bi-rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin. Jazakallah khair to everyone for joining us again. Alhamdulillah, it's day 5 already. It feels like it's going very, very quickly. So we have quite a few people on today. So we've got 4 different people. So we've got lots happening today, inshallah. So we've got quite a few things happening. So I'm going to quickly pass on to Hisham, who will start us off with the recitation of Surah Al-Mulk, inshallah. And then I will introduce the other guests as well. Bismillah.
So we'll recite Surah Mulk. Obviously, the sunnah is to read it before you go to sleep, i.e. after Isha. If you're feeling that vibe after 20 rakahs of Taraweeh, inshallah, try to do it tonight as well, inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم تبارك الذي بيده الملك وهو على كل شيء قدير الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا وهو العزيز الغفور الذي خلق 7 سماوات طباقا ما ترى في خلق الرحمن من تفاوت فارجع البصر هل ترى من فطور ثم ارجع البصر كرتين ينقلب إليك البصر خاسئا وهو حسير ولقد زينا السماء الدنيا بمصابيح وجعلناها رجوما للشياطين وأعتدنا لهم عذاب السعير وللذين كفروا بربهم عذاب جهنم وبئس المصير إذا ألقوا فيها سمعوا لها شهيقا وهي تفور تكاد تميز من الغيظ كلما ألقي فيها فوج سألهم خزنتها ألم يأتكم نذير قالوا بلى قد جاءنا نذير فكذبنا وقلنا ما نزل الله من شيء إن أنتم إلا في ضلال كبير وقالوا لو كنا نسمع أو نعقل ما كنا في أصحاب السعير فاعترفوا بذنبهم فسحقا لأصحاب السعير إن الذين يخشون ربهم بالغيب لهم مغفرة وأجر كبير وأسروا قولكم أو جهروا به إنه عليم بذات الصدور ألا يعلم من خلق وهو اللطيف الخبير هو الذي جعل لكم الأرض ذلولا فامشوا في مناكبها وكلوا من رزقه وإليه النشور أأمنتم من في السماء أن يخسف بكم الأرض فإذا هي تمور أم أمنتم من في السماء أن يرسل عليكم حاصبا فستعلمون كيف نظير ولقد كذب الذين من قبلهم فكيف كان نكير أولم يروا إلى الطير فوقهم صافات ويقبض ما يمسكهن إلا الرحمن إنه بكل شيء بصير أمن هذا الذي هو جند لكم ينصركم من دون الرحمن إن الكافرون إلا في غرور أمن هذا الذي يرزقكم إن أمسك رزقه بل لجوا في عتو ونفور أفمن يمشي مكبا على وجهه أهدى أمن يمشي سويا على صراط مستقيم قل هو الذي أنشاكم وجعل لكم السمع والأبصار والأفئدة قليلا ما تشكرون قل هو الذي ذرأكم في الأرض وإليه تحشرون ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين قل إنما العلم عند الله وإنما أنا نذير مبين فلما رأوه زلفة سيئت وجوه الذين كفروا وقيل هذا الذي كنتم به تدعون قل أرأيتم إن أهلكني الله ومن معي أو رحمنا فمن يجير الكافرين من عذاب أليم قل هو الرحمن آمنا به وعليه توكلنا فستعلمون من هو في ضلال مبين قل أرأيتم إن أصبح ماؤكم غورا فمن يأتيكم بماء معين صدق الله العظيم.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much, Hisham, for reciting Surah Al-Mulk. I'm going to ask the other brothers that are on today to share, to see if we can see them. So, Dr. Sufyan, are you still there?
Assalamu alaikum. Yeah, right here.
Wa alaikum salam. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, not bad. Thank you. Not bad. How about yourself?
I'm not too bad, thank you. I have a little bit of a cough, but it's okay. We'll get through it. And Brother Waqas, are you still online as well?
Yes, I am. Unfortunately,
Bismillah.
I can't share my camera because of the
Okay.
internet. Where I am, my internet's not that great. So if I put it on,
Okay,
it's gonna make it not that great.
Okay, we did have a similar issue with someone else who lives on the same road as you, but we're not allowed to disclose what that road is. But anyway, okay. So, Brother Sufyan, so and also Dr. Sufyan, can you just give us a little bit of so what we decided to do today's session? So obviously you're part of the Wickham Munshids, mashallah, but also professionally you're a doctor as well. Could you just give us a little bit of a background in terms of what you do, and then we have some questions that we wanted to ask as well.
Yeah, I think the first clarification that I should definitely make is that I'm definitely a wannabe Wickham Munshid.
Okay, we're all wannabe Wickham Munshid.
I look up to Sidi Hisham, Ois, and Asim, so I should clarify that. So alhamdulillah, yeah, so I'm a medical doctor. I have been for the last 6 years. Alhamdulillah, I trained in Cambridge, London, and then I've been working in Birmingham, back in Cambridge for a bit, where I was doing a bit of teaching. And then I moved to Wickham a few years ago, where I was training to be a GP, and that involved me working at Wickham and Stoke Mandeville hospitals. And now I'm working at a GP practice in Chalfont, alhamdulillah.
Okay, so we had a couple of things that we wanted to try something different today. Obviously, in terms of your professional background, and then just have those kind of conversations to see if there are any questions as well. One of the things, obviously, we're in the middle of a blessed month, Ramadan, and I was just wondering if you could offer some general advice. It doesn't have to be anything, too kind of strenuous or over the top, really, but general sort of nutrition advice, I suppose. Alhamdulillah, the days from maybe 3-4 years ago, those were very, very long fasts, and now 18 hours feels like it's kind of doable now. So just general advice. I think the main thing probably would be sort of hydration, I suppose.
Yeah, so I had maybe a couple of minutes prepared generally, and I'm going to touch on that if that's okay, but feel free to stop me any point with any questions. I think, yeah, alhamdulillah, the thing with Ramadan is that the primary goal here is the spiritual benefits that we're all seeking, and anything else is secondary to that. But what I wanted to start with was actually that it's a fertile ground for research is fasting. So a lot of people would have heard about the 5-2 diet. So Michael Mosley, who's a famous TV GP, has done a lot of research or reviewed all of the research out there. It talks about, the benefits of fasting 2 days a week. Now, his fasting obviously talks about you can drink water. So that's the only caveat. So a lot of this stuff is, but what they have found through studies looking at this sort of fasting, as well as fasting for 16 hours of the day, and then only eating for 8 hours a day, which is very similar to the kind of fast we're doing these days, they found that that sort of stuff improves your blood sugar levels, improves your cholesterol levels in the space of just a few weeks. Can help with weight, and then obviously with Ramadan we're not allowed to smoke, so helps with addictions and that sort of thing. So the kind of secondary gains of health benefits are manifold, and alhamdulillah the research shows that. Not that we need the research, but it just confirms to us that actually this is a practice that has many benefits beyond the spiritual ones that inshallah we will see and make the most of primarily. But then that said, actually, it's not all. We're not all on top level in terms of feeling our best all the time in Ramadan. Common complaints that we get asked about, either just through friends and family, but at work as well, and even in the A&Es when working there, were things like heartburn, things like constipation, things like dehydration, and so these are all common things that we need to try and sort of combat. And you're right. I think there are sort of tips and tricks that many people will be aware of, but that are simple that we all should be thinking about to try and prevent this. And ultimately, if we're healthy, then we'll have more energy and be in a better headspace to be patient when we're at work or going about our day-to-day with our family. But then also to have strength for our ibadah in the night post iftar and suhoor, and in the last third of the night. So I guess I was going to split it up between suhoor and iftar, and then when I was thinking about it, actually the advice is quite similar. Essentially, what you want to be doing is getting slow release energy through what you're eating and maintaining hydration. So that's looking at things and types of foods that will not get digested very quickly, release a lot of sugar into your body, but then it'll all be gone all of a sudden. So what we're saying here is that, say for suhoor, for example, instead of going for some white toast, we're going for some brown toast. If we're going to go for the rotis, we're making sure, maybe think about them at iftar instead of suhoor. But if we're going to go for the rotis, let's think about the medium or the whole, the brown or whole wheat atta instead of the white atta. Because we know that white flour is more processed, it's more refined, so it goes into the system and then it goes out the system very quickly. So you'll get hungry quicker. And that's also the case in things that have higher fiber. So that's porridge, that's Weetabix, as opposed to the kind of more refined cereals like, say, your Rice Krispies and your Frosties and that sort of stuff. So I think that's the first things.
That's just general advice, right? So reducing processed foods, just throughout, even outside of Ramadan. I think that's obviously incredibly beneficial. It reduces the inflammation, reduces spikes in blood sugar, all those kind of things as well.
100%. And the added benefit there is that I talked about constipation, particularly for our elderly population. Your bowels get slower as you get older. But if you're going to be being clever and swapping these sorts of simple changes in your diet, that's going to help with your bowels, that high fiber diet as well. So that's really important. The other things about hydration, which I think you kind of touched on at the beginning as well. And again, this is very simple, and this is useful for the rest of the year as well. But many of us are I don't know what's happened in the last 10 years, but caffeine and coffee has really become a thing. And I know there's lots of articles going around about, Muslims discovered coffee, mashallah, for I guess doing for noble purposes. But actually, in this month, it's a double-edged sword. Because it helps you stay awake, which I guess is good to worship, but it's also a diuretic, which means it makes you produce more urine. And we lose fluid and we lose water through that. So it can potentially have a negative effect in terms of dehydrating you. So we need to be careful about what we're drinking at iftar and suhoor. There's obviously energy drinks that also have a lot of caffeine, so be aware of that, and fizzy drinks, which also have. So this is not just the tea and coffee. I'm not saying have nothing, but maybe limit it. And I think a lot of people, I personally, I've just never liked the taste. I'm an oddball in my family. Everyone loves tea and coffee, but I've never liked it. But from friends and family, they say actually they get withdrawal from not having had their 9 a.m. Coffee or midday coffee.
That's certainly the same with myself. So again, I don't drink tea or coffee, but my wife does. And again, it's just that actually, you know, this advice would have been useful maybe 2 months ago when we would have said, right, now you need to start weaning yourself off the caffeine, right? But this, you know, we are where we are. So people need to get
So just bearing in mind and realizing that that headache that kicks in at 11 a.m. when you're at work trying to do something could be the caffeine, because you've not had it for so many hours. So try and wean yourself off. And actually, so this is a good plug. I help out with an organization called the British Islamic Medical Association. We've been doing these sorts of talks. It's usually a longer session, about 45 minutes, and particularly for diabetics, we go into a bit more detail. And inshallah, maybe that's something we should look to do, whether it's online. Inshallah, we will be together in the masajid. But next year, inshallah, we can do that. And you're right. I think preparing for Ramadan and some of these changes are useful for general health and nutrition. But yeah, inshallah, next year, trying to do some of this stuff beforehand is useful.
And one of the things I was going to say is there's certainly an opportunity maybe next week as well for you to come back, and if there are any questions that people have, you know, feel free to put it on you know, on the live chat. Maybe we can get through to some of them today. If you're on the karima.org.uk/live, you can actually click through, go straight onto YouTube from there, and then, you know, type any questions that you have on the live chat. If we don't get through to any of them today, and we feel like some of them are really important and really pertinent, then maybe we can come back to those as well later on.
Yeah, inshallah, that sounds really good. I guess this hopefully, inshallah, will just be a nice space to discuss issues in general, and offer just tips and advice that might be useful. So yeah, more than happy to do that. The only other thing that I was going to kind of talk about was kind of hydration, and then maybe how people plan their iftars. So I think the thing that the elephant in the room that we haven't talked about is the amount of food that you eat, number one, and then some of the nasties that we not nasties. I shouldn't say that. They're lovely foods. Every food is lovely, but moderation is the key. But some foods that maybe we should be less inclined towards, and perhaps culturally we are a bit, guilty of having a bit too much of. So at iftar, the first tip that I was going to say was, when you break your fast, the sunnah is obviously dates, and if not water. And I think there's a hadith that says, or it's the tradition of the Prophet ﷺ, who said he would have fresh dates if he could, if not dry dates, and then if not water. And we know nutritionally that dates are superfoods. So alhamdulillah, again, not that we need this, but the sunnah is miraculous in many ways. So that's perfect. So what I would suggest to people is have your dates and then have some water, and have a few glasses of water if you can. Again, slowly, don't gulp it all down, but have 2 or 3 glasses of water and then pray your Maghrib. Now, why am I saying this? If you fill yourself up with water and some dates, well, not fill yourself up, but you start with that, when you come onto your main meal, you're going to be less hungry. And what you really need to be doing here is prioritizing. Your body needs more the water and the hydration, and some sugars and some protein and some fiber, but the priority here is water. If you fill yourself up as soon as the adhan goes with heavy foods like samosa, pakora, etc., and sorry, I'm catering towards our audience here. If there are any Arabs, I apologize, and whoever else, mashallah, around the country and the world. But if you fill yourself up with that, you're going to drink less water, and that's not going to be good. So try and have that break, because what you'll find is you have 2 or 3 glasses of water, you'll have maybe 3 dates, the sunnah's odd numbers, then you pray, then your body's already starting to feel actually quite good. You'll be praying a bit better, as opposed to being very full. And then when you come to your dinner after salah, you won't eat as much, and hopefully you can prioritize the right sorts of things. So I'm not saying, you know, never have any fried food, but if you can swap it for a grilled, you know, chicken or something else, then that's going to be better. It'll mean you'll feel less heartburn when you're praying your tarawih or going to sleep at night for a nap, etc., etc. So yeah, that's I guess the main tip that I wanted to talk about with iftar.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much. And I think, again, it's really, really important that I think it's that these are the kind of things that people might have heard about before, but then they're just like, oh, you know what, but there's so much food there or whatever, and it's easy to get involved in that. Can I just ask one very quick question though? When you talk about dates, what we've had, for some of us that are slightly older, with white beards and whatnot, we don't remember those, you know, those massive medjool dates, you know, they're huge, and they pack a lot of sugar as well as all the energy as well. So it's just sometimes when people are like, mashallah, it's a sunnah, you know, I must open my fast with the, you know, dates, and then all of a sudden they're just like necking 5, 6, and you know, once you've had 2, you're like, oh, I've got to have the, you know, the sunnah is to have 3, and then you've had 4, then you're like, oh, I must have another one. So then it's just too much.
Yeah.
It's just picking the
I
right
think,
dates.
is it Pringles or something else? When one starts, the other one follows. There's some sort of when you pop, you can't stop. Yeah, and then maybe something else. Fingers maybe is the No, 100% right. Maybe you should be doing this talk. You're spot on. Dates are great, but they do pack a lot of sugar for what they are. So they're quite small. And particularly for the diabetics out there, you want to be a bit more careful, and for everyone else as well. In Ramadan, I'm a bit more forgiving, but certainly because you've not had much sugar during the day. So having 3 dates is probably fine. But particularly for the diabetics, any more than that, you do need to be careful, because they will, though they're slower releasing than a Haribo or a chocolate or a sugary juice would be, which is the other thing that's really important. A lot of people have fruit juices and don't realize that they're really sugary, even though they're kind of natural sugars, but essentially sugar is just sugar, wherever it's coming from. If you're having it from a fruit, it's really good because you get lots of different nutrients in it. It's packed together in fiber and it releases slowly. But when you're just having the juice, that's quite quick releasing. So dates are a bit better in that they've got skin on them, so they'll release a bit slower. But yeah, you're right. You need to be careful. So balance, and that's again what our religion teaches us. Alhamdulillah.
Okay, I could definitely have a conversation with you, and we could definitely carry on having this conversation for until Iftar and beyond. But I'm sure other people have interested in joining and listening to some of the other things that we have on today. And of course, we've got quite a few things we need to pack into like the next half an hour or so. So one of the things I wanted to very quickly ask and talk about, because you mentioned very much at the beginning that you spent a bit of time in Cambridge. While you were in Cambridge, is that where you learned some of the English qasaid that you recite so beautifully?
I like what you did there. That's a really good link in. So alhamdulillah, I was lucky. Cambridge is very blessed as a city because it has Sheikh Abdul Hakim Murad, who's perhaps one of the most foremost UK-based scholars, and he is very passionate about something he calls it British Muslim song, but as people living in the UK, and obviously he's a white British convert as well, he's very keen on developing our own. So just as when Islam spread to Indo-Pak region, not only did the religion itself spread, but poetry and song in the form of naats and so on and so forth, spread. And so just as we're developing generations of Muslims in the UK, he's quite passionate about actually using maybe British melodies, Scottish melodies to create poetry and create song. And some of the stuff that he sings is definitely sort of inspired me, and I really enjoyed it and connected with it. And that can be in other ways. So his is a very traditional British English sort of music and modes and melodies. But even that could be rap, and that could be, reggae type, obviously, music aside, but the beats and melodies can take whatever form. I think Dr. Omar Farooq Abdullah says that Islam is like water. Wherever it goes, it's colorless, and it takes the color of where it is, but it's purifying. And so that's the same with culture and song and poetry. So that's where a lot of my one-track wonders that I'm asked to sing are often things that Sheikh Abdul Hakim has either written or he's translated from poems that are in Arabic or Turkish.
So Bismillah. So feel free to share with us maybe one or two.
Inshallah, yeah. Stop me whenever. I perhaps I'll do two and leave it there. But if you need me to stop after one, that's fine. I was gonna do one actually that is I guess quite relevant to Ramadan. It's called He Who Seeks, and it's about because sometimes the poems can be a bit kind of difficult to unravel. It says, "He who seeks the signs of beauty shuns his self, then shuns his self. He for whom unions the duty shuns his self, shuns himself. So this one is all about, it's a translated poem, and it's not a Yunus Emre one. I think this is Mahmoud Huday, but I might have that wrong actually. I'll have to look it up and I'll let you know next time. It basically talks about how actually sometimes when you say no to things, when you fast from things, you're going to be unlocking other pleasures and other beauties, which is very much the case in Ramadan. And even with food and things like that, when you actually say no to things and you eat in moderation, you realize you're looking at what's the benefit in the long term. And so this is what this is about. And it talks about the union is the beauty, because ultimately our union, inshallah, is going to be with Allah, who will reward us without any hisab for our song, as we know. So this talks about that, and inshallah, it's liked. So Bismillah.
Bismillah.
He who seeks the signs of beauty shuns himself, then shuns himself. He who seeks the signs of beauty shuns himself, then shuns himself. He for whom union's the duty shuns himself, then shuns himself. Allah. He for whom union's the duty shuns himself, then shuns himself. He who fasts from passing pleasures at the Eid knows love itself. He who fasts from passing pleasures at the Eid knows love itself. He who hears of beauty's treasures shuns himself, then shuns himself. Allah. He who hears of beauty's treasures shuns himself, then shuns himself. Nor in sadness, nor rejoicing, nor with friends, nor by himself. He who heaven's love is voicing shuns himself, and shuns himself. Allah. He who heaven's love is voicing shuns himself, then shuns himself. Hearts that tell that beauty story cherish things past speech itself. Hearts that tell that beauty story cherish things past speech itself. Every man that knows that glory shuns himself, then shuns himself. Allah. Every man that knows that glory shuns himself, then shuns himself. So this, before I go into the next verse, this is a dua essentially, and it says, "Oh my Lord, my spirit's healer, grant me blessings from yourself. Make me one who humble kneeler shuns himself and shuns himself." Here we're saying that, look, I need to sacrifice myself, my ego, my needs for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we ask Allah to accept anything that we're doing to in His sake, and we ask Him to make our intentions pure. Oh my Lord, my spirit's healer, grant me blessings from yourself. Oh my Lord, my spirit's healer, grant me blessings from yourself. Make me one who humble kneeler shuns himself, then shuns himself. Allah, make me one who humble kneeler shuns himself, then shuns himself. Ameen. Both world's treasures turn to embers when I'm present with yourself. Both world's treasures turn to embers when I'm present with yourself. Huda his Lord, he remembers, shuns himself and shuns himself. Allah. Who thy is Lord, he remembers, shuns himself and shuns himself. La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah.
La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Bismillah.
I was going to end with a very brief salawat badriya.
Go for it, yes. Bismillah.
And then inshallah I'll leave things there. Is that okay?
Pass it on to Waqas, yes.
Barakallahu feek. Bismillah. Salatullah, salamullah, ala taha rasulillah. Salatullah, salamullah, ala yasin habibillah. Tawassalna bismillah. وبالهادي رسول الله وكل مجاهد لله بأهل البدر يا الله صلاة الله سلام الله على طه رسول الله صلاة الله سلام الله على ياسين حبيب الله إلهي سلم الأمة من الآفات والنقمة ومن هم ومن غمة بأهل البدر يا الله صلاة الله سلام الله على طه رسول الله صلاة الله سلام الله على ياسين حبيب الله على ياسين حبيب الله.
You're the head of the Wickham Munchids, clearly from that.
Hisham, I didn't know you were there. Not at all, man. Not at all. I've really enjoyed being with you guys the last few years. I've learned lots of new nasheed and enjoyed your company. Barakallahu feekum.
We might have a couple of requests then for next week, inshallah, or next time when you're on, we will have some requests, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much for your time.
It's been good.
Thank you to stick around. And I'm gonna pass on to Brother Waqas, who will be providing a short reminder for us today. And also just to, also as a reminder for myself as well, that we will have a quick a video as well shortly. So pass it on to Brother Waqas now, please.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى سيدنا ومولانا محمد وصحبه وسلم. اللهم أخرج من ظلمات وفهم وأكرمنا من نور الفهم وارزقنا معرفة علم وسهل أخلاق بالحلم وجعلنا من يستمع فيتبع أحسن. اللهم أنت الهادي أنت الحق ليس الهادي إلا الله. آمين آمين. أما بعد فالسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. I'd just like to start by saying Jazakallah for the opportunity, even though I'm not in front of you, and I find this I don't really like giving reminders, and it's a big fear of mine and I struggle with it. But as I was given a lot of words of encouragement by Ustad Asim and other brothers, I decided to take on the challenge and try to prepare something very simple, and inshallah hopefully it'll be of benefit. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow me to speak the truth and nothing but the truth, and anything I ask for forgiveness for anything I do say which is not correct. So today I was looking what to talk about today, and I looked through my bookshelf and there was loads of different topics and I was overwhelmed. So I thought, what can I actually talk about? Then on my shelf I had a mashallah, a great book called Riyadh al-Salihin by Imam Nawawi, and this book, our teachers have been teaching us this book for some teachers for a long period of time. They haven't finished it, but some of our teachers have been teaching it for a very long time because they were encouraged by their teachers. And it took them like 9 years to complete the whole book. So I highly recommend people to get this book, and there's a really good translation of it, which is a 3-volume book. It is £70, I believe. I paid £70 for it, but I highly recommend it, and it's worth every single penny. And this book, mashallah, Imam Nawawi has compiled it with different chapters, and these chapters are relevant to the layman, including myself. And it's a lot of people nowadays want to read hadith, and they want to go to Bukhari and Muslim because it's authentic. But these books like Bukhari and Muslim are for scholars, and they're encyclopedias. But for general reading, I suggest getting a copy of this book and Riyadh al-Salihin. And I chose 2 topics from that today that I randomly opened it up, and they just were like shining in my face. One was to do with ilm, so the chapter Kitab al-Ilm, and this is something I'm very fond of, and I really like learning and try to put myself in new situations and learn. And the second chapter is to do with Mujahada, and I thought they're both relevant in today's time and the current situation that we are in with the coronavirus and the amount of time that we have free and the amount of stuff that's being circulated online to do with studying. And I just thought I'd read from this book the few Quran ayahs that I felt that I had some sort of connection with, or I've heard by my teachers, and now they're kind of becoming real and live to me because I've heard them, and having some sort of exposure to the Arabic language, I felt that I understood it without having to be understood by a teacher or asking a teacher a question. So the first chapter I'm going to go through is Kitab al-Ilm, and Imam Nawawi talks about knowledge in this context, refers to Islamic knowledge, namely the Quran and Sunnah, fiqh, and all those branches of knowledge which assist in understanding these 3 sources of knowledge. Knowledge is the means by which a person can recognize Allah Jalla fil Ula and become a perfect human being. It is the foundation of all righteous actions. Without it, and one will easily fall into innovations if they don't have knowledge and acquire knowledge. And in the current day that we live in, knowledge is neglected because seeking knowledge, and we should ask ourselves, what do we want to seek? And seeking knowledge is a ongoing path, and we should keep seeking it until we die. And knowledge is something that will allow you to really understand the ma'rifatullah, and our souls seek this. There was a Quran ayah that I was reading today while going over, and it's Juz Amma in Surah Fajr, and it says, Ya ayyatuha nafsul mutma'inna irji'i ila rabbiki radiyatan maradiyya. I found this when I was reading this and trying to work out what I'm going to talk about today. It kind of had a link to what I was talking about, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us a chance in this quarantine time to return back to Him and achieve what? To achieve Rida. Rida, so Allah is pleased with us. And I believe through knowledge, this can be attained. And I'm just going to share a few Quran ayahs that the Imam has taken for us. That's why I found this book very incredible. And as our teacher said it, but I never really came to the realization until I picked the book up myself and contemplated and reflected on how the book is constructed. He mentioned in each chapter, he gives a few ayahs from the Quran relating to the subject heading, for example, Kitab al-Ilm, and then he goes into give different hadith relating to that topic. So it's very, I found it very profound and very helpful the way that is laid out. So the Quran, there's quite a few Quran ayahs in the chapter, but I've chosen 2 that I found were something that I've heard constantly and that's something I can relate to. So أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قال الله تعالى وقل رب زدني علما. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, oh my sustainer, increase me in knowledge. And if anyone wants to know, this is in Surah Taha. And as growing up, my parents, my mom especially, used to tell me when it came to school or when it came to exams at school, she'd always tell me to read this. And it was just literally that, make sure you make this into a word and read it regularly. Rabbi zidni ilma, Rabbi zidni ilma, Rabbi zidni ilma. And to be honest with you, I never asked my mom where she got it from. And just recently I was having a conversation with my mother to do with certain things that she had mentioned. And I said, where did you get that from? And she said, we were just taught it and we just followed it. We don't have no, where did you get the ayah from, or was it authentic, or, you know, they just followed it. And, you know, and I'm starting to realize, you know, when I first started my studying, you had that bit of kibr, arrogance inside you, that you thought, okay, no, what our parents and the tradition that they have taught us is something bizarre, and they don't know, they just mixed it up with culture. But when you actually, there are illa man rahimallah, there are stuff that are mixed from culture into Islam, so we do need to be careful. So don't misquote me on that. But the majority of the stuff that they quote is from our tradition, it's from our Islamic tradition. They might not be able to quote you, where it says it in the Quran here, or it's from this hadith, or it's from that book, but it has a real meaning. And just going back to this ayah, and my mom always used to say, just read this. And alhamdulillah, till this day, even when it comes to seeking knowledge or whatever, it's a word that I haven't forgotten. The second Quran ayah is وَقَالَ تَعَالَى قُلْ هَلْ يَسْتَوِي الَّذِينَ يَعْلَمُونَ وَالَّذِينَ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. Allah says, say, are those who have knowledge equal to those who have no knowledge? So this ayah is very important, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us there's a difference between those who have knowledge and those who don't have knowledge. And this comes in this chapter because this is telling, from this ayah, I'd get the indication that, do you want to be part of the ones who don't have knowledge, or do you want to be part of the ones who have knowledge? And the ones who have knowledge have a greater benefit, and they will benefit more. And the hadith in this chapter that I chose was by Muawiyah, Man yuridullahi bihi khayran yufaqihu fid din. Man yuridullahu bihi khayran yufaqihu fid din. So Muawiyah radiallahu anhu narrates that the Messenger of Allah said, when Allah desires good for a person, he bestows him with profound understanding of the religion. Now, sitting in the circles of learning, this hadith is narrated a great amount. And the commentator goes on to say the hadith highlights the virtue of knowledge, and our teachers mention constantly the virtues of knowledge and learning and ilm and acquiring knowledge, whether that is dunyawi or whether that is Islamically. But both, I wanted to actually mention that we have this understanding, or our children growing up in the West have an understanding of that. There's a difference between dunyawi knowledge and Islamic knowledge. And I include myself in this because I was of that same thought. But then once you study and then you study Islamic tradition, I realized that actually there's no difference between what we're learning and the science and the mathematics, the different sciences and the secular sciences you learn in school. They go hand in hand and they benefit one another. So going back to the commentator, what the commentator says, it encourages us to gain profound understanding of knowledge, because such understanding will guide a person to obey Allah. The hadith also indicates that beneficial knowledge is a sign of good fortune of a person, and that Allah has desired goodness for him. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the understanding of the deen and give us a good fortune, inshallah. The second chapter I wanted to go through was, are we all right for time?
You've got about another minute.
Okay, Michael, okay, says 2 minutes. I'm timing it, but okay.
Okay.
Uh,
No, you've got another minute because I'm going to ask you some questions. That's
okay,
okay.
that's fine. Quickly, the second chapter was to do with mujahada, and the reason I chose this chapter because the current situation we're in, with lockdown and being at home and being stuck, now people are starting to feel that they want to leave. And I was just going to mention this to the point that, like, keep going, as in with all these online classes, with being stuck at home, like, we still need to keep striving. It's very difficult because we're insan, we're not made to be like in one compounded area. We're social beings, we have things that we want to do. But just the words I wanted to give some words from the Quran and Hadith for encouragement to do with mujahada and keep striving and keep going. So Allah Ta'ala tells us, قال تعالى والذين جاهدوا فينا لنهدينهم سبلنا وإن الله لمع المحسنين. Allah says, as for those who strive in our cause, we will certainly lead them to our paths. Surely Allah is with those who do good. So from this ayah, we can learn that we are currently in a situation where we're struggling and we are striving, but inshallah, we got to realize that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put us in this test of the current situation we're in, and from this he guarantees us that lead them to our path. Surely Allah is with those who. So in this part, that we will get good action, increase in good actions. And just a hadith that I wanted to narrate in regards to mujahada. It's a very famous hadith that you've probably heard as well. It's been narrated by Anas radiallahu anhu. إذا تقرب العبد إليه شبرا تقربت إليه ذراعا وإذا تقرب إليه ذراعا تقربت منه باعا وإذا أتاني يمشي أتيته هرولة. So Anas radiallahu anhu narrates that the Messenger of Allah narrates from Allah Jalla fil Ula, when a servant comes to me one hand span, I go to him by 1 arm's length. When he comes to me 1 arm's length, I go to him by 2 arm's lengths. Sorry. When he comes to me walking, I go to him running. And this hadith, the commentator said this hadith is Qudsi and indicates towards Allah Azza wa Jal expeditious mercy and generosity. And Allah honors every good deed, no matter how small it is may appear, and He grants manifold reward for it. The more a person performs good deeds, the more he is rewarded. And what I found very interesting from here is, and just thought I'd highlight, was no matter how small the deed is, and normally when we try and do things, we want to do something big, we want to earn big reward. And even the small things, such as on a Friday Jummah, collecting the money, or collecting the money, counting the money at the end and going and banking it. Small things like this, I don't know, this came to me for some reason. It has great reward, and inshallah, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to keep striving and keep us uphold patience, protect our families, and inshallah we come through this, and we come through this stronger and better. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala sahbihi wa sallim.
MashaAllah. Jazakallah khair, Ustad. It's really, really important reminders, I think. And I think some of those things you mentioned about, and I would love to actually just have that conversation with you now about, or maybe to elaborate on those points that you made about striving and the challenges and the difficulty, especially the difficulties that people have in terms of the search for knowledge, which I obviously know sort of bits of your personal journey, which I think, once you know that those things are really, really important. And I think that's something that I would, I think would be great if you could come back on, Ustad. Maybe we can talk about some of those. Maybe again, I think people would really benefit from learning and hearing about your stories of, wherever it was, wherever it is that you've studied. So inshallah, maybe next time. But unfortunately, we have run out of time, as indicated by your little stopwatch there. So there's a couple of other things that we want to get through, as there are only 5 minutes left. So Jazakallah khair, Ustad Waqas, and inshallah we can benefit from yourself again, inshallah.
Brother Asad, can I just add a comment? Brother Waqas mentioned the studying of Riyadh Salihin,
Yes.
how people study this over many, many years. Alhamdulillah, every day since lockdown began, we've been actually studying this book with Sheikh Suleiman Van Al every morning at 10:30 a.m. And we've nearly covered 200 hadith, mashallah. So nearly 200 hadith we've covered. And everybody that studies this book online with Ustad, so if you can't catch up on the videos, Ustad will be giving sanad, he will give a link to you back to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam for this particular these particular hadith, and back to Imam Nawawi himself as well, inshallah ta'ala. So there's a lot of barakah in the time. So what many people have strove for many years, you're getting this in high wicket, alhamdulillah.
Right. So Hyam, as you're online, can you confirm you can see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so the next bit we're going to do is the refreshing iftar smoothie by the Karima kitchen team. So this is the very first one that we have. So like, subscribe, leave comments below, and definitely it'll be an interesting one. So I'm going to play it, and inshallah the internet will work.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the first ever episode of Karima Kitchen. I'm your host, Brother Shiroz. If you were to ask me right now, guys, what I would like to break my fast with, I'd probably be a bit like this person.
Roasted chicken, grilled chicken, biryani, chicken butter masala, chicken tikka, chicken kebab, chicken lollipop, chicken chili.
So unfortunately, I won't be having any of those this Ramadan because I've made the pledge to be healthy this month. That means I've cut out all my fizzy drinks, I've cut out all my juices, and I've even cut out Rubicon mango, which is something I used to break my fast with all the time. However, I'm going to be showing you today a really great smoothie that you can make for iftar to break your fast with. So for this recipe, you will need 2 dates. You will also need 150 grams of blueberries, 8 strawberries, 30 grams of almond powder, 2 apples. You will also need about 400 milliliters of almond milk, a bit of agave syrup. If you don't have agave syrup, you can always substitute with a bit of honey and a banana. So your first step is you're going to put your dates and your almond powder into the blender. And you're going to take a bit of boiling water and pour it in so it just covers the top. Now, the reason why we put boiling water into the actual mixture is so that the almond powder absorbs the water, comes a bit soft, and it gives a really nice texture to the smoothie. So next, you're going to add all your fruit together. Make sure the apples and bananas are sliced into small pieces. Next, add your almond milk into the mixture. And here I'm showing you the agave nectar that I use personally. Now, it's an organic sweetener and it's very light, it's got a very light taste. I'm going to add a little dollop of it into the mixture just for a bit of sweetness. And then the next step is you're going to blitz the whole thing together. And you want a smooth consistency where it's nice and thick. Well, once you're done blending, pour the mixture into the glass. Fresh and ready for iftar. That looks great. I hope you've enjoyed that. I certainly have. Remember to subscribe to the Karima channel. Remember to hit the like button and leave any comments below on what you'd like me to cook next. Assalamu alaikum.
Jazakallah khair. So that was interesting smoothie mix. There are a few others that we have over the next few days, inshallah. So, but that basically just leaves enough time for a quick dua. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from everyone. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept the intentions of those that have come online today. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give thanks and allow us to benefit. And I'm going to pass it over to Hisham for the
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله السلام عليكم
لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله. وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
So just a reminder, tomorrow will be the Mawlid, inshallah. So it'll be about the same time. So we'll send out messages and information. Jazakallah khair, everyone. Speak to you soon. Assalamu alaikum.